Welcome to the FTK Moms Podcast, where real moms share real stories with real love. No filters, no fluff, just unfiltered truth, big laughs, and a little therapy between friends.
Because sometimes the only thing holding us together is a good story and a group chat full of moms who get it. So girl, grab a drink.
Hide from your kids.
And let's talk about the shit no one else will.
Hey! Oh, fuck you, kid! Oh, fuck you!
Did you really just say that?
Yeah, I did. I just said fuck you. And I mean, how fucking dare you? After all that I have done and all that I have given to you, my life, my love, my body.
All right.
We will unpack this one.
Oh, man. So many things to relate to from that clip. So real.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. So I know last time we talked a little bit about you having your own kind of fuck you moment with
with my daughter.
Yes.
Yep.
And so, yeah, this is super real. I think there's so many things in here. You know, she talked about the sacrifices with her time, her body, right? Like, girl, you don't even know what we've gone through to like birth you and carry you and bring you into this world.
Let me note on this real quick. So I just ordered like witch hazel pads for my son for his face because he's 13 and we had to start acne. And so I ordered a set for me to like astringent wise. I was triggered by the witch hazel because that's what they told me to use after birth to like pull everything off down there while it was healing. And so I had that moment of like, oh, this is straight triggering me from when I pushed you out of my vagina, sewed it back together.
Oh,
And they said witch hazel. So we can move it on. But I needed that moment. I was like, oh, and this was like 2 weeks ago, y'all. Like PTSD was real.
you're like, wait, witch hazel? Oh, no.
He put this on my face.
And I'm buying this for you. You don't even know the relationship that me and witch hazel had.
So much our body or sacrifice. Yeah, so many sacrifices.
So many sacrifices. And I think, you know, sometimes when we are doing these things and we're thinking about the sacrifices and we're presenting it to our kids in this way, in a very way where she's like, you don't even understand. And I think, you know, because I talked about my moment too, where it's like, we're doing all of these things and we're trying to make sure that you have everything that you want. And they still find a way to be like, oh, it's not enough, or you weren't there, or you didn't do this or that or whatever. And I remember we were having a conversation, my husband and I, about this exact thing, right? Like all the sacrifices and the things that we did to like make sure that our kids have the life that they have, which is, you know, a lot different than ours. And I remember my oldest daughter was like, well, that's your choice. And I was like, okay, so would you have preferred being, you know, I'm like, we were teenage parents. So one, there was the stigma of like, you know, all the things, which is a part of the reason, you know, and it's like, I was a very good girl, right? Like a straight A student on honor roll, all the things. Last one out of all my friends to have, you know, if they had to guess who was going to get pregnant first, it was not me. And so then, you know, it's like hindsight, thinking back, like, yeah, I hid my pregnancy for a long time because I was nervous and scared that people were going to judge, which they did. I worked my ass off to graduate high school early, still went to college, right? Like did all of the things. My parents were super helpful in like saying, well, if you want to go have a college experience, we'll keep her. You just have to come home on the weekend. So that meant that I didn't go far away, right? Like my husband, well, he wasn't my husband then, right? He was playing football and he made sacrifices of like, okay, well, maybe I don't need to play football or right, different opportunities. And then for her to be like, well, that's your choice. Like, you don't even know the heck we've gone through for you to not be a statistic. And for you to not be a stigma. And it's like, and we are married and we are still together and you live in a nice house in a nice neighborhood and you go to the best schools and have all of the things. And you gonna sit up here and tell me that was my choice. And then it was like, then we thought about it and it was like, well, yeah. And then my husband was like, well, the things that we did, you benefited from. if you don't want to accept the fact that we're saying that they were sacrifices, because they were, but you benefited from us making the choice to be the parents that we are and to raise you in the way that we did. But still, it's kind of like, well, fuck you, you little trick. How do you gonna say this is, so I feel Jennifer in this.
Yes, in the scene, 100%. Like, you do. And Nyla said something similar. Like, it was your choice to have me. Like, I didn't ask to be in this world.
Oh, that one.
I have nothing nice to say. Right. And we were the same. I was straight out of college. I was 23. Vic and I were, it was a complicated situation. We did love each other. We planned on getting married. Also, we were pregnant. And it was kind of the same thing. We shotgunned a wedding. Here we are. I got married at 6 months pregnant. And then Nyla came around. I mean, we did marriage, a baby, and we bought a house in the same year. 23, 24. Vic was like 26, 25, 26. It was a lot. And I think too, I'm sure with you, and like, we were young and we were in survival mode.
Oh yeah.
So for majority of Nyla's upbringing, we were just trying to survive. And it's so many sacrifices and so many decisions to make. I remember losing so many friends, and I'm sure you did too, right?
Yeah.
Because at that age, none of our friends were having kids. None of our friends were getting married. And so I'm out of college, partying all the time, like working at a restaurant. Anybody that's in the restaurant world knows, like, after hours, you are at another place just drinking, power hours, whatever you want to call it. And so my circle of friends at the time were mainly my party friends. And so the sacrifice of like, okay, we're choosing this, and we're going to choose to try to give you the best that we can give you. Yeah. And so when they do tell you things like that, you just want to rip their necks and like rip their throats out.
Yes.
But then I think of the times, like, as me as a kid that did the same thing to my parents.
Absolutely.
Like, ungrateful and just pushing to the limits.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the way to the limit, where it's like, yeah, and it's like, yeah, you have those moments that you recall, like, ooh, I remember being that little bratty teenager. And yeah, saying those kind of things to my parents too, where it's like, oops, sorry.
Like, I'm so prideful, y'all. I won't even admit that I'm sorry. I like won't even talk, but I'll have a moment. I'll be like, ooh, I did that. Yep, not calling, not saying anything. I'm not even going to give them the satisfaction.
Right. Like, I will never actually admit that. But yeah, it is those things. And I think, like you said, being in survival mode of like, okay, well, we got to do what we got to do. One, I feel like for me, it was like to prove to the world, because there were so many whispers and, oh my gosh, did you know? Oh my gosh, she's pregnant. Oh, are they going to stay together? Because we were 16. We didn't, so marriage came around, but it was still very much like, well, just because we have a baby together doesn't mean that we have to be together. Teen pregnancy was at an all-time high back then. But yeah, I was the first, right, of everyone. And so then we had those conversations of like, do we even want to be married? Do I even like you? We had so many breakups where it was like, well, you go do your own thing, just take care of your kid. And then there was a whole nother layer to like our situation, because his mom was going through her own stuff. And so she moved back to Michigan, and he was like, okay, well, what am I? Yeah. Do I stay in Texas? Do I go to Michigan? And he was like, well, I don't want to leave my kid. So he stayed here, lived with one of my uncles, because my parents were like, well, no, he can't live with us. And I'm like, well, we already have a kid. Like, what difference? Like, I didn't understand that. But now when I think about it, I'm like, absolutely. If one of my kids had a baby right now and they were like, okay, my boyfriend come live with us, I'd be like, hell no, right? But in my mind, it was like, well, why? And my mom was like, well, it's about what it looks like. And I'm like, we already have a kid. Yeah. Who cares what it looks like? People already know we're having sex, right? And so then it was like that whole situation of like, well, now he's here and he's doing the responsible thing. And yeah, so many people were like, oh, are they gonna stay together? Mm-hmm. Is it gonna work out? Blah, blah, blah. So there was a lot that we felt like we had to prove to people. And yeah, we lost so many friends. So many of like my friends' parents were like, well, you can't hang out with Alicia anymore because she's fast or she has a baby. Yeah. And it's like, girl, if you knew what your kid was doing, like I'm learning from her.
She just didn't have a slip up.
Exactly. It's like she just didn't.
Or if she did,
right.
Talking about it.
Exactly.
You know, and I think that's what too, like, you know, you see this moment of Jennifer like just losing her shit. And even with us launching this podcast, there's so much into it that it's like I was raised, I'm sure you were raised with parents that was a generation that slid everything under the rug.
Oh, yes.
We didn't talk about it. Right. Now, we talked about it, our household, and I'm sure maybe I think there's a lot of similarities with our parents. Mm-hmm. But we would talk about it inside the home. We'd have some conversations, mm-hmm. but it did not leave the house.
Oh, no.
Right. And so for me, raising the kids, I'm like full transparency with everything. Like there is no like, you're going to ask a question, you're going to get the answer. Like, mm-hmm. I'm not going to hide it. This is messy. This isn't perfect. There's a lot of imperfections and a lot of things that you go through raising kids, being married, and just through life in general. But there was so much of covering it up. Mm-hmm. And then covering it up just brings the shame.
Yes.
And as like a teenage girl, even in my, even like through teenage years and even my young 20s, like that shame just like destroys you. It mm-hmm. eats at you. It buries you. Mm-hmm. And then you're 30 or 40 and you're trying to work through your shit.
Yes.
Because you're not having these conversations, I think, or not maybe having the openness, and it's not shameful. Mm-hmm. Like you getting pregnant at 16, yeah, that altered your life, mm-hmm. but it's not like everybody else. We all know what everybody else is doing at 16, 17, like not right now, 13, 14. Mm-hmm. Like we know that.
Yep.
Like let's have real conversations.
Yes.
And we've always, with Nyla, we always were having real conversations, like from the very beginning with everything. Like we're extremely real and raw with it because like you need to know the full picture.
Yes.
And if something happens, then we just deal with it. We don't need to hide it. Mm-hmm. We don't need to be ashamed of it. You don't have to carry that shame into your adulthood.
Yep.
Like let's, but I think there's so much to that, that it makes it hard.
Absolutely. Yeah, that is 100%. It was like, I think that helped shape the way that we raised our kids. Is like, yeah, we're open book. I remember when Linnea was probably like 5 or 6 and she was a big Hannah Montana watcher, right? And she loved Hannah Montana. And it was like she did the math, right? Where she was like, Mom, Hannah Montana's 16. You had a baby at the age of Hannah Montana. And I was like, yes, I did. And so then it was like, we just started having those conversations from then. It's like, okay, she can do the math. She understands that like, wow, my mom was Hannah Montana's age when she had me. Like you had a whole baby. And I'm like, yeah. And we, from then, right, it was like, yeah. So when, I'm in college and you're in kindergarten and we're both in school and having those conversations and, like I can't come and have lunch with you like the rest of your, friends' moms or, it's like, well, why do you go back to school and I stay here with Opal and Bama? And it's like, well, because me and your dad, right, are trying to get our education. And so having those conversations, because we had you at the same age as Hannah Montana, right? Like we had to, there's certain things that we have to do that look different than what what your friends' parents may look like, where they're, already like in their 30s or, working or whatever. It's like, yeah, things look different. And then on the weekends we had a little turn up, right? Like you said, still partying and doing the things, but also being like, we had to be very responsible. And so I think, like as she got older and it's like, I was in my master's program and she was playing volleyball and I'm like, okay, well, I got to skip class to come watch you play volleyball or do whatever. So then it's like when she had that moment of like, well, yeah, you made those choices. And it's like, girl, I'm still working a full-time job, going to graduate school, and, we're trying to pay our mortgage and like do all the things. And right. And then it's like, we have that moment where you're like, okay, well, she's still a kid. She doesn't understand from the adult part of us and all of the things that we did and that shame and and it's like, but we've been telling you, we've communicated with you from the time you were old enough to make sense in your mind what is going on, and you still haven't. Right.
And it goes back to that frontal lobe not being, they don't.
Yes.
Right. And I think it's those moments of like that clarity as they grow, where the sacrifices we made, the decisions we make, the rules we put in place, whether they like it or not, at some point it will click and you're like, oh, that's why you did what you did. Mm-hmm. Then you can have the appreciation.
Yes.
Right. Because at this point they can't, you know, and I think that goes back to like that. Little girls, like, this is girl talk basically, like little girls, they're so sweet, they're so fun, but there is that turn when those hormones take over, and for everyone it's a little different, but like ours was 4th, 5th grade started that turn, and then middle school, like you just lose them. I really feel like you do. And I don't know, I don't care like what you say or how you, like those kids fall into a weird place at that point. And then comes out of high school where they think they're grown. So then you get all like this talk back and this like, and then they get in their 20s and they still are in that weird, like, I'm grown. I know what's best for me. You don't. So maybe we'll like them when they get to their 30s.
Yes, exactly.
But it is a weird progress or like transition watching girls. And like, I've always had to take a step back and be like, my husband gets just like really like offensive when it comes to like Nyla and her tone. But then I have always taken a step back going like, okay, how was I? What was going on? Where was like, what was I doing at that age?
Oh yeah.
Now, reality is, what are the, like we knew what our like peer pressure and like stuff that was going on, like what are they facing? And like, I feel like that's a lot of taking a step back, but it's so hard to take that step back because you're in those emotions of like, child, we're sacrificing so much, but it's hard to step back and be like, okay, let's really talk through like what you're going through. And even if you talk through, it doesn't matter because we're so selfishly exactly in this world that you're like, are we getting anywhere?
Yeah. It's like, is it penetrating? It's like they hear you, but is it taking it in? And it's like you can have those candid conversations where you're like, oh, this is what I was doing. This is, you know, because I feel like those are the things that I wanted from my mom.
Yeah, agree. Same thing.
It's like, just be open with me, like having those conversations when I, you know, as I was transitioning, right, like you said, from that like middle school to high school, right? Like having a boyfriend and all of the, you know, it's like maybe I wouldn't have hid my pregnancy. Maybe I wouldn't have gotten, right? If we were having those conversations more candidly and there wasn't like that fear, right? Of like, oh, what is she gonna do or how is she gonna handle it, right? Like we had conversations, like you said, but it wasn't like,
it wasn't raw and real.
No,
it
was like, you really just tell me what you're doing so then I can punish you and keep you away from
the world.
Like,
don't do drugs and keep your legs closed. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Like, all right, so I'm not going to be honest with you about what I'm doing. And I feel like having that open communication with my kids of like, hey, I was 16 when I had you, so please believe that I know in this transition from like, middle school to high school into adulthood, that there are things that you're going to be thinking about, wanting to do or questioning or talking to your friends, and they absolutely don't know. And so, it's like how to have those conversations. And then they still are like, okay, I don't want to talk to you about it. But my husband is the same way where he'll be like, I can't believe that she's blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, when I was her age, like I was saying this or doing this or, you know, sneaking. And so it's like, I would rather be open and just ask and have the conversation and give them the opportunity to be as honest as they can. Because they know that I've been honest with them from the jump. Right. And so, but sometimes it is like, I'm not going to talk to you about this, Mom, because you just don't really know. And it's like, you don't think I know? I haven't been on this earth, you know,
I have no idea.
Twice as long as you or whatever. And it's like, I'm just waiting for that frontal lobe to fully
develop.
And we've had some breakthrough moments with Linnea where she's like, oh, that's what y'all are doing. okay, that makes sense. Thank you. Right? Like we've
had some with Nyla too.
A couple of thank yous, a couple of like aha moments. Like, yeah, I didn't realize that y'all were actually loving me and caring for me by saying like, oh, you have a curfew, or oh, you know, you can't do these things because for your protection and not because we hate you and don't want you to have a life. But yeah, there's still things that she's just like, I don't know why y'all didn't. That didn't make sense or that. And I'm like, yeah, it didn't make sense to me either when I was that age. And it's so hard as a parent to be like,
so hard.
Yeah. So girls are hard. I think also thinking about like the double standards and, you know, just back in the day, right? Like in our day, it was like girls were, if they were doing things, it was like, oh, she's a hoe or she's a slut or she, you know, and so then it's like the stigmas and the, right, like the way things looked from a girl's perspective versus like there were so many people that were like, oh, well, if you were a boy, right, it would be different. We would approach it different because I have a brother and I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure he got to do whatever the hell he wanted to do during his teenage years and my parents didn't have the same kind of rules for him.
Or the same kind of fear.
Yes.
Right? Like that same fear of like, there's two different fears. You think a boy can handle themselves better. The boy also isn't going to get pregnant and you're raising a kid. Like it's, I mean, there's definitely, I also think too, like there's still so many stigmas, but now they have so many different terms or how they approach it. Like I remember, I guess it was like freshman year, I had Nyla and one of her friends in the car who they're like, they're not cousins, but they're basically cousins by choice. And they were like, yeah, so-and-so has a body count. What is a body count? Somebody explain this to me. And they're like just freely talking about everybody's body counts and like, and then, you know, all of a sudden that's her freshman year and it's like, oh, so-and-so has chlamydia. Oh, no. And I'm like, oh my God. So like these were like, I created an open space. So I had to be prepared for these conversations because in my car, these kids were able to freely talk about it because we would have an open space. Now, like, but I was like, I don't understand. What are body counts? Like, that's awful. Like, you just want to know how many bodies you have. Yes. They all had their, like, there was, like, lists, like, their kiss list, their make-out list. Like, it was a whole thing. And I was like, this is so much. And then you add social media to it, which takes a whole nother layer. And I do remember, like, you know, that dating and that, like, those are some really hard conversations because same thing, like, being a young mom, even though we were out of college, it was still really tough. And we all know, like, reality is, I mean, I was having sex in high school. Like, we all know, like, what really goes on. Absolutely. So trying to have conversations. But I remember first, like, high school boyfriend, and there was, like, this, you know, there's a giddiness and newness to it. And I remember looking at her directly in the eye and going, has he had sex? And she just looked at me, and I was like, has he had sex? Yes. Okay. I need you to be aware that is how far he will go. Yeah. And that is what he's going to expect from you. So if you aren't ready to give that to him, then you need to think about what you're doing. Yeah. Because he's already gone all the way, and that's going to be his expectation. Needless to say, they didn't last too long, which is great. But those are the talks that we would always have. Like, these are the expectations. Like, know the reality of the situation. Yeah. And, you know, and she would watch friends, like, you know, crying over boys and the boys be in the locker room talk, right? Like, nothing's changed. No. It's still the same. We just we call it different things. Yes. And we have different tools now to hook up, right? We aren't paging on a beeper. Yeah. We are like snapping. Yes. And that picture disappears. Yes. So yeah, it's tough. Like, it's hard, and it is. In those conversations, I remember so many times they're so awkward. Like, having so many awkward, hard conversations, and not knowing if it clicks, not know if it gets through, just praying that it does. Yes. But yeah, so many. Yeah, it's like put my poker face on. Those where you're talking about in the car, and it's like, oh, you're like, oh wow, okay, what are they talking about? I can't react, so they'll keep talking to me, and so I have an idea of what's going on in the world. Oh, yeah? Okay, we have body counts now. Wonderful. Oh, all your friends have chlamydia. Great.
Wonderful,
We need to go to the OBGYN.
Exactly. Do we need to go get that?
So I'm going to go have that moment. Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah. Yeah. And then being like, I would always be like, are your friends' parents talking to them? Because we would my husband for a little while was like a sex educator. So he would come home and be like, these are condoms, these are women condoms, this is, and we would just be in a room like, okay, Linnea, here, just, like you're very aware. And I'm like, are we doing too much? Like, I feel like other parents probably are not exposing their kids. And I'm like, this is all the different kind of birth control. This is, and she would be like, okay, yeah. And I'm like, are your friends? And she's like, I'm pretty sure they're not. Their dad isn't a sex educator and brought a whole, briefcase full of contraception.
I always say, like, all we're doing is giving our kids ammo or like things to talk about when they're 18.
Yes.
Pay for their own therapist. It's like, I can imagine like your daughter being like, yeah, so my dad brought home a box of condoms. And like, yes. It was from the right place though.
It was like, we just want you to be informed. We want you to know like what's happening so that you're not, so that you know what to do. You're not like, oh my gosh, what's this? Yeah, and I'm like, maybe we're doing too much. Like this, are we scaring her?
Yeah, 100%. I want to scare you to death.
Exactly.
I want to scare you to keep your legs closed.
Scare you, but with information.
My sister and I were STD overload. These are all the STDs. These are what don't go away. This is what this looks like. Look at the picture. And I have a germ-phobe child.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it worked well. Yeah, I was the same way. I felt like I did too much. And I do think there's, again, because it's so hard, so awkward, that there's not enough real conversations. And I still think sometimes parents, and I get it because I've done it, we block out and we think, oh, our kid wouldn't. Mm-hmm. Oh, that would never be. And I'm sorry, they will.
Yeah,
they do.
Absolutely.
Your kid is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's what one time. I mean, recently, Nyla's one of our friends was starting to have sex, and Nyla was telling me, and I said, "Does her parents know? Is she on birth control?" And she's like, no, she hasn't said anything. Okay, why? Mm-hmm. Well, she can't talk to her mom that way. That breaks my heart.
Yeah. Like,
it's either you're, and Nyla doesn't openly come, but I am in her shit. Like, I'm aware of mood swings. I'm trying to stay present in her.
Yeah.
For the fact that they're not going to come to us.
No.
Like, at the end of the day, when they hit that middle school, teenage years, they're not coming to you.
Yeah.
No matter how open we are, I think that's right. No matter how much conversation, how many boxes of condoms we bring, whatever the case may be, mm-hmm. There's still a shame and that fear that it's easier to lie than it is to come to us and say, hey, I'm doing this. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like, it just is.
It is.
And so I feel like I've had to stay in that and watching. And when I see her moods or her things change, mm-hmm. I know something's not right, and I'm in there pressing and pressing and pressing until I get it out.
Yeah,
and it's exhausting.
Yes. Oh yes,
it's exhausting.
Yes.
When Vic, I think we had just had Eli, so we had 2 kids. Again, we're young parents working most of the time. We had both of us work multiple jobs to make it all work. Mm-hmm. But he was at a new school. They just opened a new middle school, and it was the first year. And he was complaining about being so tired. Mm-hmm. And one of his coaching buddies looked at him, and the coach didn't have kids, so he looked at me and goes, "Good parents are supposed to be tired." Mm. And that is something that has stuck with me for all this time. You're supposed to be tired, right? Like, they really didn't choose to come in this world.
They didn't.
They didn't. We did choose to do the actions we did that created these babies. Mm-hmm. And I feel like, it's exhausting, but that's what we did choose it. And I wouldn't take it any other way.
No, absolutely not. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's like, as much as we, are like, oh, we did this and we did that and we sacrificed this, And one thing that we always say is, it's like, well, I know that we gave you the information, and when you go out into the world, we just have to trust that the things that we instilled in you and that we taught you and that you learned from our mistakes and everybody else that we're like, you see them with chlamydia, don't you know? It's like,
see what your friend's going through.
Exactly. Yep. And so it's like, you just, all you can do is pray that like, well, all the things that I did and that I overdid, or, you know, these conversations will eventually click and make sense in their mind, and that they're going to make the right decision, or they're going to feel comfortable saying like, oh my gosh, I don't know what is happening, but mom, help me, right? Like, help me figure this out. Linnea's referred so many of her friends. She's like, oh, my mom had me when she was 16, you know, go talk to her. And I'm like, do they want to talk to me? She's like, I don't know, but I just told them, like, my mom was a teenage mom. Like, you have pregnancy scare? Go talk to my mom. I'm like, well, what do their parents think? She's like, oh, I don't know. I just told them they could always talk to you. And I'm like,
it's relatable.
Yeah. She's like, my mom, and she's a counselor. So yeah, she's best of both worlds.
Figure it out.
I'm like, okay, well, at least I know that the information is there, but maybe if I don't know if you're using it for you, but you're definitely a good referral source.
Yeah. And that's what Tyler would be like. I would tell my friends, well, you know, my mom said this, this, and this, and that boy did that. Yeah, my mom said that. And I was like, oh, you do listen?
Yes.
Wait, we are getting and you're right. Like, they do. They don't want us to know that they're listening.
They're not going to admit it. Not in that moment for sure, but it comes out. You just have to be like, there it is. And you just take it in silently.
You do. Parenting is a lot of little bitty wins.
Yes.
I don't ever feel like there's these huge wins. I feel like it's these little bitty wins that we get to see.
Yeah.
That's like, you know, you're sowing the soil, right? You're putting in the work, you're watering it, you're doing all the things, and we see these little blooms.
Yeah.
And then every once in a while, the hurricane comes through and knocks it all down, and we start back over.
You're like, give me my pizza. I love it. This is my pizza.
It's my pizza. It's mine. I earned this. You know, the other thing she talks about is her career. And I think that's so much, and we're both working moms, like, those career ambitions, like it's hard. I think the guilt runs through so deep when it comes to, like, being a career-driven mom.
Yes, mom guilt is real.
Mom guilt is real. Nyla, with a little bit about, like, her, I was 23 when I got pregnant, 24 when I had her. I just finished training as a front of house manager for Texas Roadhouse. So restaurant industry, long hours, weekends, always. And Vic at the time was delivering furniture for Rooms to Go. He had his own truck. He ran his own business. He was out there delivering furniture. He would leave at like 5 a.m. Sometimes wouldn't get home until like midnight. Wow. Both of us were working crazy hours to make, just to make things work.
Yeah.
And so Nyla, I had 6 weeks off, 2 weeks paid full, another, took 4 weeks that were half paid. And then I was back working. And so my sister, decided she would move down here to help. She was 19. She transferred to Texas State. We had a really good friend of the family that we consider them families, like, sisters, moms type of roles that have been in our life here in Austin for a long time. And my husband, they came into my husband's life when he was in college. They all stepped in to help. And so Nyla bounced, and I called her everybody's baby because she was. Tuesday she was here. Wednesday she was here. Thursday she would ride to Roadhouse with me. My sister would pick her up, and she would go to the dorm at Texas State. Like, Nyla was everybody's baby. Come back at 11:30 at night. I'd throw a bottle in her mouth, and we would drive home. Like, we just did what we had to do to survive. Yeah. And there was never we never had an option. I didn't have an option to not work. Right. It wasn't part of the plan, but we were putting both of our money together just to pay bills. Yep. Right. We are sacrificing all the things. And then as I started wanting to change and move in my career, there was always that guilt of, like, how are you going to do this? Where's the baby going? What does this look like? Who's taking care of them? We were blessed with a great neighbor that was a stay-at-home mom, and she took in Nyla. Jessica and the family, like, Nyla was the girl, like, she didn't ever have until she had her daughter finally. But she was family. And that was a blessing for me my parents weren't here. My sister was here, but she was 19, 20 in Texas State. I took advantage of what I could.
Yeah.
Needless to say, Nyla's favorite song with Jenna was Patron on ISTI, and Nyla would be like, Tron, and she would want to play Patron because Nyla was up and down the streets on 35 with Jenna. But there was so many moments as she got older, and then when I decided to have another one, of like, well, I'm not here for them. I'm not giving them enough time. Nyla was at my elementary school. She was the last one picked up every time at after school care. 6:30 on the dot. Here I came running through that corner as fast as I could to get her. And that was hard. It was really hard. And trying to balance. There's no balance. And there actually is no balance when it comes to that.
Not at all.
You know, and I feel like even now where I'm at, I made some sacrifices in 2018 from a 10-year career in an industry that I walked away from for my family's sake. And for me, that was very difficult. And it took me about a year to heal through that. I started working remote, and I had to rebuild myself and figure out where am I going in my career path. It also was a chance for me to be like, what do I really love? Because I've been in survival mode. Just thinking that this is what I needed to do. And so now I'm in a great place and I love what I do. And there's balance, but there wasn't for so long.
Yeah. And it's funny. Linnea always says, wow, Kyla has a different set of parents than I got. And I'm like, well, yeah, we were in survival mode. We were, you were one at our high school graduation. She's like, I've been to so many graduations. She's like, I've been to my mom and dad's high school graduation, both of their college graduations. They both have had master's graduations. I'm like, yeah, but we were there. We made it to every single one. And yeah, like I said before, like we didn't get to go to lunches. And yeah, she was definitely like, my mom would pick her up sometimes, or my dad, or I had an uncle, or, be like, I don't know who's going to pick you up today. Just, I remember when she was in kindergarten and she wanted to go to, they had like the bus that would come and pick up the kids and take them to dance. And one day she got on the bus.
She wanted
to go to dance. And so I'm like, okay, wait, who's supposed to, wait, she should be here. And then it was like, oh, she said she was in dance. I'm like, y'all listen to a 5-year-old and she is at the Star Center. And she was like, I just got on the bus because I wanted to be in dance. I didn't want to go to, YMCA or whatever. And I'm like, girl, you cannot do that because you're not supposed to be on that bus. And she would just be like, well, my friend got on the bus. And I'm like, no, you can't do that. And I would just be freaking out with, like a calendar of like, okay, Mondays, my mom is picking her up. Tuesdays, she's staying after school, or like you said, running, like trying not to get that late fee.
Don't give me a fee. I would send a text. I'm stuck at the train.
Yes.
There wouldn't be a train, but I was stuck there because it was
right. It's like, please, I can't afford it. Yeah. And then when we had Kyla, then it's like, and my parents were still young enough where they weren't retired. So my mom was like, I have to work.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. So then me and Corey would just figure out like, okay, well, daycare is $1 million an hour.
Yep.
What are we going to do? And he would be like, okay, well, like you said, working multiple jobs, doing all the things, like trying to figure it out. And then, then it's like, Linnea's like, I want to be in dance. And it's like, girl, can't afford for you to be in dance. Let's put some music on. You can dance at home. And so it's like now that we have a little more, she's like, oh, Kyla got rich parents. And I'm like, girl, we are not rich, first of all. But she's like, she gets to be in all the things. And I didn't have, and so it's like that comparison where and I'm like, well, we were in survival mode, trying to just make sure that you got picked up and didn't get on the wrong bus or knew where you were or what you were doing, because we were both striving to try to get to where we are now. And like the other day, she was like, wow, Mom, you're like for real a supervisor. And I said, yeah, at work, I am a supervisor. She's like, you approve people's timesheets. Yes, I do. And she's like, wow, you just don't give me supervisor vibes. I'm like, I don't know what. She's like, you're just like my mom, like you just have always been my mom. And I'm like, yeah. And I worked really hard. She's like, just it's clicking to her. Like, wow, I'm like, when I was your age, I already had you and was pregnant, married with a house and a husband and in school and like doing all the things. And she's always like, how did you do that? Like, I'm so selfish and self-centered. And I'm like, yeah, it was a sacrifice.
Yeah.
I didn't get to, go on, girls' trips and all the things. Cause it's like, oh, well, who's going to keep my kids? Yeah. My mom would be like, girl, I got to work. What do you, my dad would be like, yeah, I don't know what you're going to do. Like, go get your kids. Yeah. And so, yeah, it's like you do so much. And now, like you said, now that we're more settled and in our careers and it's like, whew, I can kind of breathe.
Yeah. I'm finally at a point where I'm breathing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's, and for us, we were young, right? But then I would love to talk to a mom that, my mom had me at 35 and my sister at 40. Mm. So they lived, mm-hmm. right? Mom and dad weren't married the whole time, but they lived. And so then when they got to 35, 40, they were actually trying to build a business and they were in, parenting mode that she had wanted for so long. Mm-hmm. Love, I'm excited, when we start rolling out some of our moms to, talk to moms in different seasons of life, because I think at the end of the day, it is still all hard.
Yep.
You're still going to go through the same struggles, whether when your kids are growing up, you're just doing it at different seasons in your life.
Absolutely.
And some moms have been able to build a career and then decide, but then you're still taking a step back.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we still have to take a step back.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But yeah, it's a challenge.
It is.
So Jennifer, we feel you. We get you all the moments of it all.
Yes. Thank you, girl.
Yes. Thank you for that scene. I don't think there's enough scenes like that out in the media. And there should be.
So real. Mm-hmm. So real. It's like I felt that from like my core because, it's like we might not always say those things, or maybe we have.
We do.
Right? We have said those things to our children and they are okay. But sometimes it's like as moms, we don't always have permission to just have that real raw moment of like, listen, fuck you, because.
And I also think too, like, you also don't want to be judged.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying you're supposed to be the nurturer. You're supposed to be the one that takes care of them and loves them and gets them through life. So how dare you say F you kids? Mm-hmm. So you don't want to be judged, or you don't want to look like you failed.
Yep.
Right? I think those are all the emotions that go through this. Especially when you're raising kids, you go through all the emotions. There's the joy, there's the excitement, there's the disappointment, there's the sadness, there's the fear. I think fear is probably the biggest one, the fear of the unknown. Like, you send them out to this world and you really do. I mean, I'm a praying mama. You have to pray
all the time.
Because it's a big ugly world.
Yes, it is. And it's like, you just want to make sure that you're doing the best job to prepare your kids for what the world looks like or what is going to come. And sometimes we don't know, right? Like I can imagine that my parents were not prepared for me to be 16 and pregnant and them going to take in my baby's daddy and help me raise my kids, right? And do all of the things. And like I said, now I think back and I'm like, oh, would I even do that?
You would.
I would, but yeah, it's like, man.
But you got to process it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. And no matter how old you are or what stage of life you are in, when you are a parent, you are going through the things and, just figuring it out. My mom used to say, like, well, both of y'all, to me and my brother, were just experimental guinea pig kids. I didn't know what I was doing. And so, she never like apologized, but she would just be like, listen, I never had a 15-year-old daughter. And so I didn't know how to approach this situation. So yeah, sometimes I did it in the way that I knew or felt was best for you. And I didn't understand that until, it's like you have those kid moments where you're like, well, shoot, you're just a little guinea pig that I'm trying my best to figure out what to do with you. And so,
and I just had a conversation with my, like, I need you to know that what we do is out of extreme love, thinking that we are doing the best for you. It might not be.
It might not be.
It might not be. Like, that's the reality of it. We are thinking we are doing the best, and I need you to know that it comes out of so much love.
Yeah.
But it's, it is hard. And you just, like, the nail on the head, I just had that conversation with her the other day. Like, hey, we've never raised an 18-year-old.
Yeah.
You're the first.
Yeah.
Sorry, first children. Like,
oldest daughter
for sure. I'm the oldest daughter right here. Are you an oldest son? Are you your brother's older?
Yes, he's older, but I was the only daughter. So I'm like, well, does that count? No.
It does in some forms, I think. Because girls and boys are completely different.
So different.
Right? Because I'm raising a son, totally night and day. But like, yeah, it's you. We've never done this before, and I don't care. You can read all the books. Y'all can read all the blogs. Get off Pinterest, because that just ain't nobody have time for any of that.
No.
Nobody has time to be that kind of mom. And if you do, kudos to you, because it's not in my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're really we're trying.
Yep.
That's all we can do.
That's all we can do.
Love you to death and try.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is a part of why we made this podcast.
It is.
Just to create a space where it's like, listen, we're not perfect. We're doing the best that we can. We're going to have those mom fails. And then we're going to just figure it out.
And share stories that we hope that, like, you either can relate to, or if you're raising, like, little girls, if they're young, like, that you can at some point know, like, oh, I've heard that. Like, okay, I'm not an island on my own trying to figure this out. Like, it's just not me. No, it's not. It's anybody raising girls. Good luck.
Good luck.
We are here for you, though.
Yes. Let us know what you need.
Awesome. Well, another podcast in the books.
Knocked it out.
Yes. All right, guys. Until next time.
That's a wrap for today. If you laughed, cried, or yelled, same,
hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, and DM us your FTK moment of the week for a chance to be featured on an upcoming episode.
FTK Moms Podcast.
Real moms,
Real stories.
all with real love.
ProPod Digital.